All right, he's a family man. He's a man of one wife and a man of two children. Is that the case, sir?
Last time I checked, yes. Last time.
Oh, I see. I see. There is a big issue in. Is it? Have you heard the case of what's happening in the other part of Asia where many kids don't know who their fathers are? That's just by the way. Anyway, welcome on board, and here we go. Are you ready, sir? Because all my followers would like to ask you a lot of questions. Ghana has been looking for political parties that can stand up to the duopoly that we have in this country. We have NDC, NPP taking over our economy, our country since we can remember, since 1992 till now. And almost everybody doesn't like what is happening in the country. Oh, there he is. We can see his face now. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm not going to do too much of your background information because we know you've done this and all that. But mostly in this part of the world, sometimes all that information at your background doesn't really translate into our economy. Okay, so don't be offended if I don't give too much details of where you were educated and all that kind of stuff. We want people who can get the job done. So let's get straight on board. Mr. Koranteng, how should I address you? What would be the best way to address you?
Kofi.
Kofi. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You are determined to become leader of Ghana, correct?
I am determined to serve my people.
Excellent. Okay, so I have followed the trajectory of Ghana's politics. Okay, and I've seen how independent candidates have come in and out, and none of them has really made a huge mark on Ghana's politics. But at the same time, we see on the other part of the world where people don't just come in as independent candidates. Some of them take the route of members of parliament, and then they hold the sitting government by ransom in the neck by holding the majority seats in parliament, and eventually they take over government. You have chosen not to become an MP. You have chosen not to work with any political party and become perhaps a minister of state. But you are saying, no, to hell with these two people. I am going head to head against these people. I want to push them aside and possibly become the next face of Ghana. What makes you confident in what you are doing instead of joining them? Why?
Well, Cyrus, thank you so much. And thanks to your beautiful platform and the people and all the people you've been able to reach and talk to and reason with and share, who are here now and who are on their way coming to hear what we have for them. It's an honor to be here, and I don't take it lightly at all. I just want everybody to know that I am the best candidate for president by none. By the time we are done with this engagement, you will know for a fact that Kofi Koranteng is operating at a whole different level from the rest of the pack. They don't compare to what I know, what I can do, and I'll prove to you today. So I really want you to get all your pistons running full throttle for people to listen to what I have to say, because it's pretty simple if, of course, you are that level of understanding. So I'll break it down to you. Now, I could piecemeal this by how you ask me questions, or I could do an intro and go through a spectrum so that there is a graduation from step to step, so that people can really understand and go into my thinking and see how and why it is the way that it is, and why Kofi Koranteng is presenting it to Ghana for now all over the world, and for them to know for a fact that this is the guy. So your choice. I could sit with questions, or I could. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would prefer we do it at question by question instead of going through the whole thing, because I'm sure you've spoken enough on different platforms, but here we have specific questions because of time. We don't want it to drag too long. We want to make sure you have real answers to some of the real questions we are asking, and not all that other information you may want to add. Is that fine with you, sir?
And I am good.
Okay, so my first question to you is this. Why not just join the other parties? Why do you believe that this is it? You have to go independent. Why?
Well, a couple of things. Because number one, their foundation for operation is not based on principle. They're criminal organizations masquerading in leadership vehicles. But if you take a look at what they've been able to do in the last 32 years in the Fourth Republic, there isn't anything to show for, unless, of course, you are sleeping. But anybody who's paying attention, who's taking note, will know that based on all the things that are available to these two parties, if you take a look at what they've been able to do with what has been made available to them, they are complete failures. And I'm using my words I'm being very kind. They're absolute failures. So, and one of the big reasons for that is because their loyalty is to an entity which is a political party who sets the agenda for them. My loyalty is to the people of Ghana who have set the agenda for me or who will be voting for me. So two totally different ideologies of leadership. And that's why I know the results and the outcomes of this organization, leadership movement, is totally different.
All right. One more thing, please. Is it possible you can raise your voice a little bit? Because even me with the headphones, I'm struggling to hear everything you're saying.
Really? Because I'm pretty loud and I'm up all volume. But go ahead. We'll turn it up some.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Now, in the flyer that I gave out, I made it specific that we are talking about about industrialization in Ghana. I strongly believe that this is where Ghana has reached. And I did an episode the other day. I stated when America in 1865 started the industrialization process, America had a population of 30 million plus people. Ghana today has a population of 30 million plus people. So it kind of looks like Ghana is just at the point compared to where America was when they started the industrialization phase. And moving on from there, people had jobs, people were able to pay their taxes, and the country could count on the taxes and then develop steadily. Now, is industrialization, first question, this is first question. Is industrialization a focal point for you as a leader of this party? How important is it? Yes, important is it, especially now, looking at the size of Ghana's population? Do you think we are at the point where no matter what is being talked about, industrialization should be the focal point?
Well, it's a mix of things. You cannot just go in full throttle with industrialization because there are certain things that have to be in place before industrialization. You cannot have an attitude of, listen, we want to industrialize and open up factories that make Woma and Saria and Asanka, and you know what I'm saying? That's industrialization. It's just not going to get you very far because industrialization, you have to have a spectrum thinking in terms of what level of industrialization you want to come in at. So before you could go in at a low level industrialization, which is not going to make your people, it's going to get your people busy, but it will not make them much. So at what level of industrialization do you want to come in? Our poverty gap is because we have a technology gap. Now, the reason why so many people we have right now, there are 7,315,555 household populations who live in distress, like extreme poverty. In Ghana, close to 25%, a quarter of the whole population. That's unthinkable. You can't have a nation to survive on these types of numbers. Now, the only reason is because you could say, hey, listen, we're going into industrialization tomorrow, But what is more important is you have to have competencies. Competencies is what drives industrialization. You see, you could have NVIDIA make one microchip for $3,000. Very high level competency. You sell 1,000 of those, you are 3 million. I mean, you see? Now, you could have 1,000 people. Now, that could be done by one person. Where in Ghana, how many people do you need to sell warmer? How many warmers do you have to sculptor to sell to make $3 million? You're going to cut the whole forest down. So it's not just industrialization. We want to think that there are three things that we need. We need competency, connectivity, and complexity. Competency is the vertical level up in the spectrum. Once you get to the top, you go wide, and that's the complexity. I'll give you an example. America, we make watches. You go to Switzerland, they make timepieces. So one makes watches, the other one makes timepieces. What's the difference? Complexity and a different level of competency. One sells their Timex watch for $150. The other sells their Rolex watch for $150,000. Big difference. We all make watches, but one is a timepiece, the other one is just a watch. So what makes a difference? Competency. And at the top level, complexity. So what do you want to do? If Ghana wants to catch up, you gave a great throwback about 30 million people back when the Industrial Revolution started in America. But did they have the competency then? They didn't. They have to go through so many phases to get to where they are now. That excuse is not relevant for us now because we have learned we can learn what everybody went through. So if we have to start, yes, we are 30 million, just like America, the population America started with. But we don't have to start at their level of competency. We can start at a whole different level, and that's what makes this interesting. And if you have a leadership who understands that, then we have to train our people to bring them to that level of complexity. So we start at a much higher level so that our people can start making big money. You see, the idea is if we don't make the big money, then we don't have the money to spend to generate what we call the economic combustion that we need. And the reason why that is relevant is if you take a look at the 740 billion cedis of debt that we have, when you go into a low-level industrialization, how long will it take you to pay the 740 billion cedis? Nobody thinks about that. If you want to do it in a short period of time, then you cannot just go into industrialization. You have to go into very high level of industrialization, which requires high competency. So
I beg to differ with what you have said, even though I agree with most of what you have said. First of all, this is a country where we are almost totally dependent. I'm talking about the basic things that we need in this country from outside sources. I'm talking about food. I'm talking about the basic commodities that we depend on: tomatoes, onions, cabbages, rice, all of that. Now, this to me in itself is a sign of national security. At any point, if whatever happened in 2019-20 that shut the world down should happen again for at least 1 year in Ghana, and when we cannot have access to the world giving us all those commodities, Ghana is almost finished. And so when I'm talking about industrialization, I'm looking at, first of all, we need to be able to be self-sufficient. We need to be able to produce what we eat. In as much as you have the big picture of producing at a level where the revenue size is gigantic and we can do exploit with the excess, volumes of money that will come in. The basic things in this country, talking about food security, we need to take care of that business, whether mechanized or whatever it is. What are you saying about that? That is what I'm talking about, industrialization, where we are able to produce to the capacity where we don't actually need too much from outside this country to survive. What are you saying on that?
Excellent question, Cyrus. Well, when I talk about industrialization, it has nothing to do with food and the basics. See, let me tell you about the top 5 things that as a leader, we are looking to do. The first 3 things we call the mega threesome.
The mega what?
Threesome.
Threesome. Okay. All right.
Okay. So the threesome is this. First is change the constitution. Okay. Second is eradicate corruption. And the third, national development plan for the next 50 years in 4-year timelines for obvious reasons. Now, the fourth is reduce government, size of government by over 70%, make it efficient, effective, and functional. And then the fifth thing, which is the moneymaker, is invest $10 billion into agriculture every year for the next 10 years. Go into drone-controlled mechanized farming. Now, the things that are absolutely necessary for our survival, I don't put it into the industrialization vessel. And the reason I don't put it into the industrialization vessel is because these things we have got to have to be able to survive. These are the absolute basics we need to have. So when we talk about agriculture, where you are starting from, that doesn't qualify on my books for industrialization because it's something we have to do to survive. We don't have a choice on that matter, you see? And the reason why the country is messed up the way it is because we have neglected that for so many years. So what I'm saying is that part of development has to happen, and it's going to happen regardless of what our goals are as a nation. Because if that doesn't happen, you cannot survive. And it's actually dumb for any leader at all to have a developmental plan without first having things like food security and basics like, and I talk about that in my National Development Plan. And the 10 things we talk about in the National Development Plan are housing, healthcare, employment, education, transportation, telecommunication, security, recreation, markets, and a functional CBD. So you see, these 10 things are things, if anyone wants to develop themselves into a first-class status, they have got to have these things in place at some level. In the last 32 years, in the last 67 years, we haven't been able to develop just one of these things. And that's why the nation is in the state that it's in. So those things don't go into my development bracket. Why? Is because if you don't do these things, the country is going to fail. And that's why we've seen remnants and glimpses of failure right now. So I'm 100% with you. Yes, food security, we have to have water, we have to do reclamation for all decimated lands, restore purity levels without waters and all of that. Those things don't go under industrialization for me. Those are absolute necessities that we have to do. So that's the difference.
All right. In saying that is absolute necessity in order for you to do, let me come back with this question on the same topic. Imagine you became a president of Ghana in the first 100 days or in the first 1 year. Still on food security in this country, because I've done research over and again, and I've seen how much money we are paying to Niger, we are paying to Burkina Faso, we are paying to Nigeria and all these countries around us. and how dependent we are on even Ukraine, a war-torn country like Ukraine, for cereals. In your first 1 year, what is your plan? Even though this is not, it is a must for you to do, but it's not one of the major part of what you are doing. In your first 1 year, how are you going to tackle this?
Well, we going, the moment we get in, some of the first things we're going to do is we're going to suspend all non-essential projects. Okay, we're going to implement the plan for agriculture that we have, which is go into agriculture, not start unleashing the $10 billion into agriculture right away. Conversations and negotiations with chiefs, and to be able for them to release lands to us for us to go into taking over and preparation of lands to cultivate.
Sorry if I have to catch you. Sorry if I have to catch you. Did I just hear you say you are going to release $10 billion into agriculture?
No, we're going to start the release of the $10 billion from day one, because it's a priority for us. And the reason why we need to start, we're doing $10 billion a year. So the moment we come in, we're going to start putting money to agriculture. We're not going to do $1 billion bulk into it. The money will start going into agriculture, which by the end of the first 12 months, we would have justified why we spent $12 billion into $10 billion into agriculture first.
Now, the reason why I'm asking you this question is because Ghana is at IMF looking for $3 billion. Clearly that means they don't have the money sitting here. And if you are speaking of $10 billion and perhaps maybe half $1 billion in the first year, where are you going to raise this money from?
Very simple. First of all, this notion that Ghana doesn't have the money, I don't know why you would believe that. That's not true. Ghana has a lot of money. And the spending, we are wasting a lot of money on unnecessary spending. Our tax system right now only intakes about 30% from everybody who actually is working and should be paying taxes. So that alone, we're going to increase it from a 30 percentile to a 95 percentile by changing how we collect taxes. Currently, we don't collect taxes on a progressive system. We're going to do a progressive tax collection system. And the way it's going to be effective is because we are going to do what we call, we're going to do an integrated national ID and address system. We don't have an integrated national ID and address system, and so many people leak through the system without paying taxes. So that's number one, that's income. Tax rebates to all these big companies that we're given, there's absolutely no reason for us to be given the tax breaks because they're not giving us anything. Okay, a lot of them are phony companies that have been formed to justify why they need to take tax rebates. We're going to shut all those things down. That's about $7 billion every year that we put towards these companies. So we're going to draw back on that. The third thing is the accountant general tells us over $3 to $4 billion goes out every year to corruption. And we have a paper trail on that. Okay, so if we have a paper trail and we know $3 billion goes out to corruption, what's stopping us from getting that money back? In the last 32 years, that looks like about $96 billion. Now, we're not planning on getting $96 billion, but even if we got 30% of 96, that's $32 billion. And that'll be more than enough money to start rolling. And we're going to have an amnesty. If you bring your money in, then we're going to shave off some responsibility for you stealing that money. And it's going to be a 30-day amnesty we're going to give before we start bringing the acts over.
I think what you are saying is something I've heard before from the mouth of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he was campaigning to become president. I remember once I heard him say on TV that all the taxes that are, draining through the system, we have to find ways to stop it, like what you're saying, number one. Number two, he said we have to bring people, they were even talking about everybody having bank accounts so that we can actually be able to tax people appropriately. Businesses will have to be registered, everybody's businesses. It looks as if it's so easy for politicians to straight away target ordinary Ghanaians who have already been overtaxed, in my opinion, to target the ordinary Ghanaians and say there are still loopholes in the system. We have to find ways to tax the untaxed and leave the other spots, other places where monies like corruption, where they come, they are unable to do much. What will be different from what you are saying in comparison with what Nanado did?
All right. So a couple of things. You didn't you misspoke. You didn't repeat what I said. What I said was there are only about 30% of people who actually have earned income and are supposed to be paying taxes. Only about 30% pay taxes. The rest of them are not paying taxes. So what I'm saying is not adding more taxes to them. What I'm saying is just getting them to pay taxes that they ought to be paying anyway. That's not new taxes. That's paying what you were supposed to. You with me? So I just want to get that clear. We're not adding taxes. Matter of fact, if we don't get the people who are supposed to pay taxes to pay taxes, then the responsibility will go on the poor people who get very little. And that's what we want to relieve them of. That's why we need to have the people who are supposed to pay taxes pay taxes. If you take a look at our tax system now, there are so many taxes going. And the reason why there's so many taxes that are indiscriminate going right down in Ghana is because our tax system is shot. It's really messed up. If everybody who's supposed to pay taxes pay the right taxes, then you will not have an indiscriminate tax system. An indiscriminate tax system, it's not equitable, especially for people who close to 30% make 5 cedis or less a day. You see? So that's what we don't want to do. And that's why we have to make sure that the people supposed to pay taxes. But you can't do that till you have an integrated national ID and address system. Nanado talked about this, but they don't have a national independent integrated national ID and address system. We are going to have it, and that's what the difference is. So our plan is nothing like what the NPP has done or what the NDC did in the past. Our plan is totally different, and it's going to be effective because we're not planning on going to IMF until we could get the right people to pay the taxes they're supposed to pay and get people to make the incomes they are due to make. Then you can have justification to be taxing people. So our system is very progressive. It's not like what Nanado and Baumia has done, which is deprive people of basics, just like as much as the NDC also did.
All right. So what I was trying to say is this. I'm not talking about people being taxes being added to people who are already paying taxes. I'm talking about government or political parties or opposition parties always speaking about taxes that has not been collected. The MPP repeated it. NDC said the same thing, that people who are supposed to be paying taxes, who are not paying taxes, should be taxed. A majority of these are people who don't actually have jobs. There are a lot of people in this country who don't have jobs. In order for people to pay taxes, they will have to work. What is your plan? Putting people to work. People who have to wake up in the morning and know that they have a definite place they are going to work, and they know that they are working for something that is a living wage, not some scanty 500, 200 Ghana cedis at the end of the month, in order for them to be able to pay the taxes. What is your plan to put people to work?
All right. So a couple of things. I just want to clarify that because, so people who are watching us could get clarity on what you're saying, because it's confusing the way you have staged the question. A couple of things. The problem is people are not making incomes because there are close to 72% of the working population who are on the informal side. They don't have a way of making sure that they are on the grid. They haven't created a system like that. That's what we are going to do. When you create a system where you move people from the informal to the formal, then you could equitably tax them. That's a different system altogether than what these guys, MPP and DC, are doing. Number two, nobody minds to pay taxes if they are making income. So this is what we are going to do. And this is why I talked about competencies, because so long as people are making good incomes, they don't care how much you taxing them if it's for their own good. Okay? So a couple of things. We are going to take the output from the agriculture that we are investing in to feed our agro-based industries. Output from the agro-based industries, we are going to first, like we said, in meeting food security, on our way to food security, we are going to eat or use what we're going to get from agriculture, the surplus of which we are going to add value and export. Once we export, we're going to get foreign exchange reserves. The foreign exchange reserves that come in, we're going to split in three ways. First way, we're going to pay down part of our 740 billion series debt, because if the debt gets to a point where China, who is our biggest creditor, feels that we cannot pay, they will call their loans, and that means they will take over Ghana. We don't want that. Second part of the loan, we're going to use to expand our horizontal integrations, which is build more industry, because the more things we could do. Now that we've done the agriculture level, which is the first level, the second level we're going to do is the domestic level, which is everything domestically we are going to be able to manufacture, so we don't use our hard-earned dollars to go and buy foreign goods. We spend our cities here in buying things we make at home organically. See? So we could keep the central bank resting. And then the third part of the money, remember I said three parts. First part, we pay down the debt. Second part, we expand our industry base. The third part, we're going to put that excess into a central bank as foreign exchange reserves, so that if you have to make any purchases, which is outside of the scope of the domestic market, we can use that money instead of melting that down to foreign exchange dollars and using that of the world commodities market. Now, the agriculture, drone-controlled mechanized farming is going to open up more than 15 doors in research and development, pharmaceuticals, food processing, seed nurseries, transportation, freight, logistics, real estate, banking, financial services, medicine. So all of these areas are going to be opportunities to absorb the unemployment on the street. What that does is people are absorbed, they make good monies, they spend the money, and that's the beginning of the combustion, economic combustion. And that's what's going to also pay down the debt. So that's how we are going to get people off the street and into good working positions, not just jobs like Zoom Lion type of jobs where people are making 180 CDs a month. No, give people real incomes. That's what we're going to do.
All right. Thank you for that explanation. I was watching one of your episodes on TikTok, and you made mention that if you became president of Ghana, you only have 10. Sorry?
When I become president.
When you become president of Ghana, we hope so. When you become president of Ghana, you will have 10 ministries. And you mentioned them, and I have them here. Let me go through them. You said Ministry of Agriculture, Education, Energy, Employment and Entrepreneurship, Finance, Foreign Affairs, Justice, Interior, Health, and then Trade and Industry. Mm-hmm. Was this something you were just saying to the cameras, or is this something you actually believe in? Because I have questions I really want to go deep into.
Start.
All right. Let's begin with agriculture. I like agriculture because I think that is where Ghana can easily make money.
Sure.
And I also listened to you one of your episodes where you said Ghana could be paying some of its debt with food we have produced in the country. I love that idea. But my question will still have to go back to the fact that almost every major project we embark on in this country, we have to borrow the money. And when political parties are in opposition, they tell us the money is still here. And then they come into power, and then the reality hits them that the money is not sitting there. What I have experienced or what I have researched into is when anybody becomes president, instantly like 4 things will hit you in the face. Number 1, the reality of our finances, which might be totally different from what you are anticipating. Number 2 is what your investors, people who have sponsored you into becoming the president, are requiring of you. Number 3 is what your political party or the people who voted for you are hoping that you achieve. And then the 4th one, which might be the least among them, is what yourself want to leave as a legacy for your name. Now, you want to do all these magnificent things, and I'm asking the question, is it going to be that easy looking at how successive politicians or political parties haven't been able to do it when they are hit with the reality of unavailable funds to start hitting the road with all these ideas that they have, and they have to shamefully walk their way to the IMF?
All right. So a couple of
When the reality hits you, what are you going to do?
The reality is not going to hit me because I'm telling it like it is before I get in. So I am starting from the worst case perspective going in. So if a reality were to hit me, it's not going to be any worse than what I've already anticipated, which I've talked about to Ghana. I've spoken to Ghana, and I'm glad you've watched some of my TikToks so you know exactly where I stand on issues. So most of the things that we are looking forward to, we have talked about, and it's not coming from me, it's coming from them. So if they are giving us their case as it is. And I know they're giving us the worst case because they want to create a cushion for their own benefits. So what we are in essence telling people is the worst case scenario. Now, I have told Ghanaians that if I were to get in today as president and I were to find anything different from what I anticipate, in 30 days, I'll quit, I'll leave. Now, I know that's not going to be the case because I'm telling people the exact thing that I am going to do. Okay, so a couple of things. I'm not going to go borrow because most of the money, Cyrus, very well that the MPP and NDC have stolen a lot of money. Oh, Kofi, you can't prove it. Okay, I can't prove it. So where's the money? We know they borrowed the money. We know we collected it through social services. So where's the money? Because they obviously have not built Burj Khalifas around Ghana, right? They haven't built anything in Ghana. Gutters are still overflowing with filth, mosquitoes, and dirt everywhere. Dirt roads, bumpy road, you name it, it's out there. So where's the money? It has got to have gone somewhere. So the inventory is what they're worried about because they have to give inventory as to where the money went. And we're gonna know for a fact. I'm not gonna lie to Ghanaians. We do an inventory and we tell Ghana, hey Ghana, they told us it's 740 billion cities of debt. We came in and did an inventory. It's actually $1 trillion of debt. So where did that money go? Okay, empty your pockets, everybody. We know the money came in through finance. What did you do? Hopefully, not all of them will be dead, right? So we could hold them up, and even if they're dead, they're records. And if that doesn't show, we see all these properties around. Show us how you, Cyrus, show us how you built your 20-story building in East Legon. Where'd you get the money from? Because we know you don't make $150,000 a week. You're gonna have to prove to us. So listen, We're coming in with a system that's going to go line by line and comb through everybody's finances. You're going to have to prove to us how you made your money, because we're going to find our money.
Is it still going to be the democracy that we know now, or is it going to be a mixture of our democracy and some form of a socialist, whatever twitch that you may add to it? Would it be something similar or different?
It's going to be a hybrid system for what works for Ghanaians. That I can tell you. Okay, so our system, we're a different breed of people. Our culture is different. Our expectations are different. Our experiences are different. We're not taking anybody's system to make our own. We're building our own system. So it's what's going to work for our people and give value to our people, for us to live at the highest level of the human experience. That I can promise you. And we're going to do everything in our power to make sure that comes to the people of Ghana.
Okay. Still on agriculture. It's a very important topic to me. I think the rest of them, it's easy for anybody to explain their way out. But when it comes to things that we physically will have to see them done on the field, that is where the politicians are missing out. As we sit now, every year, I did a research on tomatoes every year, and I like to bring this subject up, no matter how you see it. Every year we buy not less than 100 million worth of tomatoes from Burkina Faso. Every year. That is just the fruit tomatoes. And then we have to buy the canned tomatoes from all these other countries in the Middle East, in Canada, in Holland, and all those places. Do you think when you become president, do you ever see Ghana being a net exporter of anything outside of cocoa? Because as it stands now, we are net importer of everything apart from cocoa and maybe gold. Because the question, apart from where the finances is going to come from, is will you still have the political will to say, in my first 2-3 years, we are going to be self-sufficient in A, B? Would you be able to mention commodities or stuff like that and say, by 1 year, by 6 months, this shouldn't be a problem in this country again? Would you be willing to put your position on the line for this?
In 1 year, we'll be food security. We'll be food secure.
In 1 year.
In 1 year, 12 months would have 100% food security. Listen, it's so hard for me to sit there and read the numbers you're quoting me now, that you spent over $200 million to get tomatoes from Burkina and onions from Niger. I mean,
right.
2.3 billion cedis we spend on tomatoes and onions, and they don't have planting for food. They don't have 1 million, one district, 1 million, one constituency. They don't have any of that nonsense. Yet we go to them to import all this. We go to countries in the Scandinavian countries to get our confirm.
And yes, that is what is happening.
And we are the third importer of tomato paste from Germany. Really?
Yes. Yes.
How so? We import more cereals. I mean, the amount of money that went to food is 26.7 billion cedis went to foods, not including chicken and rice. Not including chicken and rice. That's just cereals, tomatoes, onions, and I confirm. I mean, I like I confirm, but for God's sake, for it to be able to come on a boat and on a plane, it's unthinkable. It just tells you we have a failed leadership, and the leaderships of the Mahama-led NDC, Bawumia-led MPP have failed us. That's all that's
where do you foresee all these agricultural projects happening in this country? Which region? Where?
All the regions except for the regions that have the lands that have been decimated by Galamsey. We have to do reclamation. So up north, maybe listen. So let me tell you a little bit about, since you like agriculture. I like you, sir. I like you because you like agriculture. So let me tell you a little bit of Cyrus. Western region is 10,842 kilometers squared. The whole of Western. Tokyo is 10,542 kilometers squared. That means Western region is bigger than Tokyo by 400 kilometers squared. Western region. Tokyo has 37 million people there. They have food, they have fish, sushi every day. If you want to have sushi every day, you can have it. All right? So we can bring everybody in Ghana, we could relocate them in Western region and use the whole of the rest of Ghana for agriculture. I want to make Ghana the agricultural hub of the world.
Can you?
Absolutely. We are going to make Ghana the biggest producer.
You know how it pains my heart. The reason why I consistently talk about agriculture, when I see the trucks coming in from Niger and Mali and all these other places, I see the trucks in their numbers every day coming to Abobloshi Market, Nima Market. They are dumping tomatoes, GMOs all over the place. We don't even know what we are eating. This is disturbing to me. When I do the research and I don't know the source, the kind of seed they are using, and we are just eating it down here. These people can easily finish us with our own food.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think NDC and MPP are thinking about this at Parliament right now?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
So now you see why you need to vote for Kofi Koranteng.
But I want to know what Kofi Koranteng can do differently from the NDC and the MPP.
Well, let me tell you. A couple of days ago, today's what? Today's Monday. I think Friday they were celebrating what GMO can produce. I don't know if you saw that. You saw everybody in the Abatakari celebrating.
Yes.
Like, are you
yes. That is madness.
I was so upset I had to cry. I cried because I was like, now it's bad enough importing the food from abroad and not knowing what's in it. But
right.
On your own land and allow for them to come, kill your indigenous seed, replace it with the genetically modified organism, and plant some, God knows what, in a lab for you, and for you to be celebrating that. It's painful, man. It's very painful. So it just tells you that these guys don't know what they're doing. They are clueless. When I say that, people say, Kofi, your words are too strong. But why on earth would you have indigenous seeds? Do you know that, Cyrus, there are companies right here in Ghana working hard to take all our indigenous seeds out of Ghana so we could be GMO dependent? Did you know that?
No, not until now.
Yeah. It's a fact. And these guys are sitting there clowning in Parliament. All they want to do is win power. What do you do with the power? Well, we don't exactly know, but we want the power. Really?
So India had their elections this year. And a big country like India with a population size of more than 1 billion people. President Modi has ministers, I think 71 of them, for 1.3 billion or 1.2 billion people. 71 minutes.
148.
148. All right. Thanks for that correction. And a small country like Ghana, we had more than 100 ministers at one point. You are talking about 10 ministries. Why did you pick this then? What is significant about these 10?
Because we could nothing. They are major. And what makes it beautiful is because we could scale everything into an agency under these ministries. So, anytime you talk about these 10 ministries, people think, oh, so whatever happened to the rest of the ministries? Well, they're going to be there. The work is going to be done. The result is going to be had. You're just not going to have it in a ministry because we want to scale down the price. Remember, the fourth thing on our top 5 is what? Reduce the size of government by more than 73%. So when you have a minister, you would need a ministry to contain a minister, and you have a deputy and all the expense that comes with it. What you can make it into an agency. Listen, Cyrus, with artificial general intelligence, nanotechnology, cellular intelligence, and virtual reality, and all these other technologies that are available to us, Internet of Things, 8 hours, you could do what you normally do in 8 hours into 2 hours. That's why I think this Mahama-led 24-hour thing is nonsense, because they don't know what they're talking about. 8 hours, we are going to make it 2 hours. That's why we're talking about a 6-hour economy, and Mahama is talking about a 24-hour economy. We are on the other side of development. We are what it is. They don't get it.
Let me give you a few stats here from still agriculture. We are not moving from agriculture yet.
Bring it on.
I'm sorry if you don't like the topic, but that is where I want to stay.
Love it.
So I looked on Statista for information on Ghana's cocoa production. In 2020 to 21, Ghana was producing more than 1 million metric tons a year. The number started declining from 2021, 22, 23. Now we are doing 580,000 metric tons a year, from 1.2 to 580,000 metric per year. 50% of that. Meanwhile, our colleague Cote d'Ivoire, our own neighbor Cote d'Ivoire, from 2020, they were doing 2.2 million. 2022, they did 2.1 million. 23, they did 2.2 million again. These guys are maintaining that standard. Is it the ministers? Is it the ministry? Is it leadership as president? Or is it the people? Why is everything falling apart?
It's falling apart because they are...
I think we lost the network. Are we still live? Oh. Okay, you see my movement. Ladies and gentlemen, pardon me for the short cut in the connection. This is my lecturer at Legon. It's part of the Coco. All right. Oh, Kofi left. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get him back online. I think something may have happened with his connection and he left. Let's see if he is going to call back. Or what happened? We're having such a wonderful conversation. Thank you guys for sticking with me, staying online. Thank you so much. All those that are here, bless me. Thank you so much. Canayus, thank you so much for staying with us. Please like the page. Let's get more people on board. We don't know what is happening at his end. We are still here. We are waiting for him. We have to continue with this and then get all the questions out and eventually invite some of you guys to also ask him questions. Mr. G says good stuff. Thank you guys for the support. In Shiraba says some of the things he's talking about has constitution constraints. I know. Most people from Ghana go to Cote d'Ivoire to sell their cocos. I want to hear him on agriculture. That is the only thing we are talking about today. We are only talking about agriculture. Poor internet, I guess, right? So Soja says, this is great. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for supporting this channel. I hope he's going to call back. Where are you streaming from? Me, I'm streaming from Accra in Tesano. I hope he's going to call back, though. I hope he's going to call back. I hope he's going to call back. Whatever is happening at this end, we need him back because we're almost past the middle of the whole show. We have about 1 hour more to. Bet. I think he's calling back in. Let's see if it's him. Oh, there he is. Let's put him back on. Let's put him back on. Thank God he's back.
Yeah, man, that's empty. And listen, when I talked about the 10 things that we need to have done, you heard me when I said telecommunication, right?
Right.
Yeah. So this is exactly what happens. MTN decides to go off anytime and come back in. This is it. If I were a surgery, I would be dead by now. This is what
Of
happens.
course, nobody is accountable to anybody in this country.
Anyhow,
So my question, let's go back to the question. Sorry guys for the interruption. He's back online. We are happy to have him back. So we are still on agriculture and we are not moving yet, because that is where I think Ghana can solve most of our problems through. I think agriculture gives us leverage. We have the lands, we have the rivers flowing freely into the sea and all that. So I was giving him statistics with what is happening with our cocoa. This is one of the commodities Ghana depends on. Absolutely. And now the production rate is dropping. It has dropped 50%. Meanwhile, Cote d'Ivoire is increasing. What has happened? Is it the ministry? Is it what? Is it the incentives that are given to farmers? And there was a comment in the section saying most Ghanaian farmers are selling off their cocoa to our neighbors, to Cote d'Ivoire, because they pay higher than our people. When you are president, Kofi, when you become president, what are we supposed to expect in terms of cocoa production, cashew nut production, maize production, rice, all of that? What are we expecting?
So a couple of things. So that people can really understand. I don't know how much of the ground you know when it comes to agriculture, but Cyrus, the problem is more than 80% of the farmers are tilling 2 acres or less of land, 2 acres or less. So it's very easy to convince them or sway them to do something else, especially when they're not getting support. Most of them have gotten older and they are more frail, and their children who would have otherwise helped them have moved into the cities, so they don't have the helping hand. So when they take a look at, well, listen, I'm at a point where in the next couple of years, I'm probably going to be passing this thing off. Do I just take some money and relax myself in my last few years, or I go at it full throttle? And the answer is obvious. Let me give this farm away for monies. Maybe they've been purchased, cocoa is being purchased for God's sake. And they'll rather give the logistics that, again, mainly fertilizer, they'll sell it off to some merchants in Cote d'Ivoire and get some money and sit somewhere. That's their position, because they're not getting the support, they're not getting the education. The market of farming, the terrain has changed. There are more sophisticated methods, insecticides, and all the logistics that comes with it that they're not getting. So it's easier for them at this age to push it off, for them to live their lives. What we are going to do, which is different, is we are going to do cooperatives. So if we come to, let's say, Oda is where I went, where I was blown away by the sizes of the cocoa and how fresh the cocoa pods were. So we go to Oda and we say, listen, we're going to put all the 200 cocoa farmers who have sprinkles of cocoa lands all over the place, put them all together and have them come work for the government. We will bring in the big machines and it will cultivate the land and plant the cocoa and employ the workers and find out how much you're making every year. If let's say you make $10,000 a year, we will make sure we pay you more than that, so that we can get you on our side to work on the farms for the government. The government is going to be handling all the farms. We're not going to be leaving it for people. Why? Is because farming has gotten very sophisticated, and individuals cannot afford the farms that makes them the machinery that makes them competitive. So you can't allow for 200 farmers each to get their own machine and till their lands. It's not going to be productive. So the government is going to come in, bunch them all together, and do 10,000 acres of farms. I was watching a video 2 days ago on the biggest farmland in China. I wish I had known of this farmland when I went to China. I'd have visited it because it's over 2 million acres. And they have over 100,000 cows and all the sheep and da, 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 da. That's the type of farming we need to go into. And we do cooperative, so we bring all the farmers together because, see, there's strength in numbers. And when you scale at that level, you save money. You do the most sophisticated drip irrigation systems, drone controlled with controlling how much moisture is in the soil and all of that. The farmers individually cannot afford it. So it's going to be a project for the government, and we will employ the farmers to come along, and we will pay them, we will take good care of them, we will build homes for them to live in. So it will be worth their while to be working for the government because they will make 10 times more than they make on themselves.
Speaking about China, I've lived in China. I speak pretty fluent Chinese. Mandarin, actually.
Really?
Yes, I speak pretty fluent Mandarin. Now, this is what I learned in China. For 5 years. Once I traveled from one province to the other, I sat on the train. I thought I was watching a photograph because for 20, 30 minutes, I was seeing one product, like one produce. It was maize for like 30 minutes, and it switched to rice for like 30 minutes, and it switched to another thing for like 30 minutes. And what I saw.
Meanwhile, you're going at 349 kilometers per
hour. Exactly. And what I saw different from the Chinese government as compared to what we have in Ghana is everything that is done properly in China is led by the Chinese government itself. Chinese government is the biggest constructor or the construction company in the world, and is the biggest in China Construction. When it comes to banking, the Bank of China and the China Industrial Bank, and it's owned by government. When it comes to real estate development, the biggest is owned by Chinese government. So there is clear leadership where they want to start, where they want to end. I once saw an earthquake hit a city called Chengdu in China, and in 6 months I could see how they collected all the debris and then they started redeveloping the whole place.
Oh my God, talk about Chengdu. That's where my shopping mall, do you see the shopping mall, the Galaxy shopping mall in Chengdu?
Wow, that is magnificent.
That is, see, you're talking my language now, man. So now you see where we're going.
Oh, you've been to Chengdu?
Yeah, baby.
Wow. This world is so small. Wow. So that is why I'm asking you this. Is it going to be a copycat, something similar to what China has or what is done in the Scandinavian countries, so that we know that the government isn't going to say we are making the system conducive for private people to lead the way, because private people are greedy. They will never lead the way the people is supposed to be served. You always need government leading and participating and being competitive. Is that something we are expecting from you?
That's the way to go. And that's why I say, listen, see, when you talk about socialism, it scares people, but we certainly like capitalism. But what we want to do is, listen, my model is science-based, data-driven, human-centered. So we science-based, data-driven because of one thing, the human in the middle. You see? So because it's human-centered with everything, that's the perspective from which we build. Everything, we look at it from what's going to be the best for the Ghanaian citizen. Listen, let me be very honest with you, Sarge. We want to promote and project, put on display the Ghanaian citizen more than anybody has ever done in this world. We want to make Ghana the most special place on earth. I'm telling you, man, this is my dream. Listen, I've traveled all over the world, and I went there for specific reasons. I went there to learn, and that's why when I was in China, I was in Singapore, Germany, everywhere I went, I sat down with developers. I scheduled this before I took the trip, so when I go, it's not just, hey, I'm here, China, let's go ball. No, it's sitting down with planners and developers and getting into their minds and understanding why they do things the way they do things. And I'm comparing it with that perspective here in Ghana and knowing the changes that we need to be making. You see? So we want to build this thing. It will give you whiplashes, what we're getting ready to do. People are not ready for it. Listen, I'm warning everybody, but you're going to love it at the end of the day. You're going to say, wow, we're going to do some spectacular things in Ghana. Spectacular.
I see. Now, in order to do that, let's get back to the politics of Ghana now. Mm-hmm. In order to do that, you have to win power. Mm-hmm. In order to win power, you have to fight against these two guys, NDC and PP. On the other side, you have your colleague Cheddar, who is also making a lot of noise. And we have the lawyer, what is the name?
Not Sam Ankra, lawyer.
Yes, and Dr. Sam Ankra on the other side, the Afa movement. And all these guys also.
Anochi.
Lawyer Anochi, yes, Lawyer Anochi. Mm-hmm. Lawyer Anochi. Are we to expect that there's going to be a coalition of all these independent or small movements and parties coming together eventually to actually get the numbers to face this?
Well, okay, so we would hope that we come together. Matter of fact, I was in a meeting today. Dr. Samankra was there. Dr. Anochi's rep was there. And so we hope that at some point we are going to come together. But one thing that I must just let people know that 2024 is a crucial election. And the NDC and NPP are working hard to dismantle everything that we're making an attempt to build. And they have metamorphosized into, they've mutated themselves into smaller political parties and independent candidates. So don't be surprised if somebody that you have a lot of faith in don't cut the seed at the end of the day. We pull them down because we find out that they're an appendage of NDC and NPP. We cannot go into this thing. I certainly don't want to work with anybody who has a relationship with NPP and NDC at that level, because they're only there to pull this alliance down. But to that effect, if everything were to check out and all due diligence comes in clean, that these groups are groups that we could all come together and forge a huge alliance, then why not? One of the things that I'll tell Ghanaians is there are a lot of organizations out there who may not have a presidential candidate, but yet still they are very pro-Ghana, and they're looking forward to seeing some type of an alliance being built. And it could be a presidential candidate or a couple of presidential candidates coming together, but with the support of a lot of these organizations collaborating around the candidate. So one way or the other, a combination, one way combination or some other combination, but we're looking that in the next, at the very least, maybe 2-3 weeks, we should have a candidate who we're all going to coalesce around.
All right. Now, in talking about that, are you aware that is it the Afrafranto party led by Chairman Tin has also gone into union with, I think, the Liberal Party of Ghana, something like that. They've also joined forces. Are you aware of this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is it something you're also looking at in the event they also want to bring you on board?
I wouldn't consider joining Afrafranto because I don't think Mr. Chairman Ting has the credibility to deserve bringing people together. And my only explanation to Ghanaians is this, that if Mr. Chairman Ting had won the primaries, he would still be in the NPP.
Exactly.
And I'm glad you are responding exactly to that. And a person like that has no credibility and has no character. He may look like a fine gentleman, but you make decisions based on principle. And
Right.
he has failed my character test. Going into 2024, I think two things matter more than anything: character and the economy. Mahama Bawumia Koranteng has failed all two of them: character, economy. They failed because they're all part of why we are where we are today.
Right. Now, there are rumors. There are rumors of the Electoral Commission of Ghana. There are rumors, and it's coming from all over the place, that they are making sure that particular individuals don't find their names on the ballot paper. Have you heard of this?
I have seen some TikToks saying that, pointing to that. I have suffered my fate in 2020 when they planned. I was totally ignorant of a document called Ejapadia. I had not read it then in 2020. I didn't know there was a document. But they had already scripted in the Ejapadia document that they had to get me out of get me off the ballot. So they took me off the ballot. I went crying. I was like, get out of here. We took you off. So you forged signatures. How did I forge signatures? Well, that's what we are saying. We don't care what you say. You forged signatures. Get out of here. What are you going to do? We cried to the courts. The courts dismissed the case. An electoral commissioner called us. Hey, Kofi, come back. We go back, say, yeah, take your 100,000 cedis. Go and come back again 2024. What?
That really happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are you going to do right now to avoid that same scenario from occurring?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do everything we did in 2020, which is we did everything right in 2020. Same process, we're going to do it again, just that this time around, we're going to have different levels of acknowledgement so that the people they claim said that we forged their signatures won't be able to come back to say, if we had Cyrus just put their name on a piece of document and say, hey, listen, I validate Kofi Koranteng to be president, Cyrus can come back and say, well, I had some, 2 vodkas and I don't think it was me. So that's got to be a forged signature. You can't do that.
But you have to make sure that doesn't happen, for the fact that people who believe in you and because I see a lot of people campaigning for you on social media. All these people cannot have their hopes dashed because Kofi couldn't hold up his part of the bargain.
Cyrus, my life is on this thing. So you think it's just that I can't go into details with you, the things that we're putting in place. Just please.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take that on the face value. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a few other questions, and then I'll put others online so that they may ask 1 or 2 questions and we can bring it to a conclusion. Now, are you also aware that almost every industry in this country is controlled by either a foreign entity or some guy from outside of Ghana? The retail industry. I mean, almost everything is owned by foreigners in this country. This is becoming the norm now. It is like they are taking over the country eventually, piece by piece, from every corner you turn in Laboni, in East Legon, in almost everywhere. Now they are going to the big shops, the supermarkets. They are going into Abubloshi. They are getting stores. They are taking over our industry. Have you conceptualized this? And what is your take on this?
Toontum, I think you in my backpack when I go around, because I think everything I see that bothers me, you see too. I'm starting to wonder about you, man. You inspire me because I can't believe you are just too spot on, and all my concerns are your concerns. Wow. Seriously, I'm not just saying that. This is not stage talk. Because you see, let me tell you something. This is why, sirs, you need to campaign for me. if this question is personal to you, because I feel violated going around the city. I don't go to Labone anymore. Well, Labone Junction to get my pillow relief, right? Aside from Labone Junction to get my pillow relief, do you know that spot, Cyrus? You know?
Yeah, I know that spot. I know that spot.
So aside from going there to get my pillow relief, I don't like to go to Labone because it screams at me that you are a failure. You are a failure. You are a failure. That's what I hear when I go to Labone, because everything beautiful in Labone is owned by somebody else who doesn't look like me.
Exactly.
And Spain, in Osu is the same thing. The Chinese or Koreans are taking over. The Indians are in. When the Indians move with their grandparents, you have a problem.
Right.
And their
They are coming to stay.
Oh, are you kidding me? They are here.
They are coming to stay.
I don't know if you know Yarifa. There is a whole
Yes.
Indian community where they don't even allow you to go in.
Wow.
Hey, Ghana. Masa. So listen, let me tell you this, man. Ghanaians, if you don't want your country taken, and it's being taken, it's been dashed away. Like I don't even understand I don't understand the morale of these leaders for selling everything away like that. It's painful, but we cannot stop it. The only way we're going to be able to stop it, not by me being a parliamentarian or a minister, by me being a president. Because we're going to uncoil all of that. I'm telling you, we're going to uncoil all of that.
As a matter of fact, I'm expecting these elections to go into a runoff and possibly two other runoffs. I don't see a clear-cut winner. And I see all the smaller parties, if they are given the license to run, making a huge impact. And for that reason, these two major parties are going to have a run for their money. I see that happening. But I ask myself at the end of the day, when that happens, and say none of these big parties have the clear win, the win of 50% plus one, and they are calling on Kofi and the New Vision movement to join us. NDC says, Kofi, join us. MPP says, Kofi, join us. Bring your party, bring your numbers. What are you going to say?
Not me.
You're not joining?
Oh, please. Listen, when are you married? You have children? You have a daughter?
I'm married. I'm married.
No children. Okay. So I have two boys and a girl, right? So
right.
If somebody comes to my house and rapes my daughter, I don't sit at the table with them and have dinner with them.
Exactly.
I can't do it. I can't. I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not going to sign off to MPP NBC. They've asked me many times. And folks, it's not that I hate the people in it. I just can't stand everything about how they have treated Ghana. Because Ghana has been second class. They have raped, abused, tormented Ghana for 32 years, and it needs to end. I honestly believe that, and I think Ghanaians deserve to see themselves in a new Ghana. And I think when they make that decision in December, and they put their thumb, their Kokomoti power on that ballot and say Kofi Koranteng, in the first 24 hours, Ghana will change. Because I have written my acceptance speech. No, seriously.
That is how positive you are.
No, seriously. And when I read it, I get scared. Seriously. Because I know things people are going to say, oh my gosh, what the heck? Seriously, Cyrus, it's going to be 24 hours. Everything will change in Ghana. Everybody will feel it that the time has come.
I am very hopeful in what you're saying. I'm totally hopeful in what you're saying.
The announcements I will make in that speech as to the things you can do and cannot do from this point forward, it will blow people's minds. You know, some of my good friends call me from New York and say, Kofi, I am sure people will commit suicide when you win. People will just commit suicide because they don't want to deal with you. I'm serious. People that listen, Cyrus, let me tell you something. I've been that principle for the federal government for 24 years. It's the most regulated industry in the whole world. I've been that for 24 years supervising financial advisors, right? I don't have one incident on my record. One on my 24
In America.
Yes. Clean record. Securities and Exchange Commission, NASD, National Association of Securities Dealers, FINRA, Financial Industry Regulatory Agency. Not one on my record. I am nails when it comes to order and regulation, rules and regulation, law and order. You know, so get ready, man. Strap down.
I see a new wind blowing in Africa, especially when I saw the new president of Senegal elected. You know, he's a young man, and I thought, wow, this is a good president. This is a good president for the continent of Africa. And because of that, I'm very hopeful. And seeing what happened in South Africa in the elections, I think 1 month ago or 2 months ago, when the ANC couldn't get a clear-cut majority, I can see that there is a shift, a wind blowing through Africa.
Yeah.
Now, I see you on social media, but I am not seeing you on the ground. I'll be very honest with you.
Yeah.
I am not seeing Kofi on the ground. I see a lot of cheddar on the ground. I see NPP, NDC as usual on the ground. When am I seeing you on the ground?
Okay, so a couple of things. And you asked this question, but I don't think, now that you ask it again, I don't think I gave you the deserved answer. You said something to the effect that when people come in as presidents, they told to the people who sponsor them, something to that effect.
Right. You didn't actually touch on that.
Very good. So now let me tell you this. The reason why it's been slowly coming is because by anyone. It's organic sponsorship. People like you, Cyrus, people like friends of mine, family members. The New Vision movement is a cluster of people from all over the world who are pure Ghanaian bred, who are funding our campaign. People, ordinary people, sending in 20, 30 CDs, and that's what's funding our campaign. And I use my own savings to fund this thing. So, and the reason why we did that is for a good reason, that we didn't want anybody to give us money for them to say, now that I've given you money, sign off your concessions to us so we can control you. And nobody's going to be able to tell Kofi Koranteng, listen, put 10 people in your ministries because I gave you this money. That's why Akufo-Addo had 127 ministers in the first term. That's not what we're going to.
And that is the rumor I heard about you, and I'll spill it here. The rumor I heard when I posted the flyer on the internet that we'll be having this interview today. I had one person send me a message in my DM saying, Kofi Koranteng. All right, let me be blunt. Kofi Koranteng is working for the CIA. Kofi Koranteng is working for some top American Rothschild, something like that, and he's just a front runner for them. He's going to mortgage Ghana and give it to some Americans who will take over our country permanently, something like that.
So now let me tell you this. This is funny. So let me tell you this. First time, so I get to New York. I think I flew in from Brussels. I get to New York. I'm at Kennedy, and I get a call. Kofi, where are you? I'm like, why? He says, Kofi, the CIA is looking for you. Here, America is looking for you. Whatever you do, don't ever go back to America because you are going to be arrested. I was like, what? I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. He says, no, Kofi, do not even go close to the airport. Whatever you do, don't. So first rumor. So he says, where are you? Tell me. Okay, don't tell me because they might pick it up. I was like, I'm in America. He says, no, you're not. I said, so I walked back. I had passed the customs, because from immigration you go to customs and then you come out. So I go back to the customs and I say, listen, I think you guys are looking for me. They're like, what? We are looking for you? Who are you? He's like, I don't know, but I just got a call that I'm a wanted person. So they get nervous. So like, okay, hold on 1 second. They call their supervisor. They get me into a kiosk. My name. It's like, you? Who are you? We don't even know who you. It was like, I says, oh yeah, I was just checking because I just got a call. You guys are looking for me. He's like, oh, get out of here, man. Don't be a joker. I said, no, I'm serious. So that's one. The second thing, there's a rumor going around at the time. Kofi, we heard your mother died, and you got a lot of a year acid donations, and that's what you're using it in politics. So I called my mother and said, Ma, what's the way we say my mother said, my mother was alive when that rumor came. And then I heard another one and said, I brought some big time Wall Street guys and they are coming to buy the whole of Ghana. I said, yeah, I worked on Wall Street. But I wish I had some money from Wall Street because then I'll be controlling my own destiny. If my friends gave me money from Wall Street, they won't be telling me, do this with the money, do this with the money. But look at me. So, listen, let me tell you, Cyrus, let me tell you.
So you're not working for the CIA, you are not fronting from some American organization.
I look like I am working. That's so funny. Oh, God, that's so funny. Cyrus, let me tell you something. They really don't want me in this election. Let me tell you how bad it is. It's so bad, they don't even invite me to networks any longer. They don't want to, anytime there is a survey, they make sure they take my name out because they don't want people to even think that there's a possibility that Kofi could be a candidate of choice. I wonder why. That's why, Cyrus, let me tell you, call them. Tell Bahumia Mahama and Chermanting, come face me in a booth so we could do a debate. I'm waiting for that to happen. Call a debate on this platform. Get them all here so we could do a debate and do your questions. They can't.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
All your questions, and you go see if you can ask Mahama or Baumia or Chemanting the same questions and see if you get an answer. Nobody will even come to that. I do TikToks 2 a week. 2. For anybody to ask me any question, tell me how many times any of these guys have come to TikTok to face the people. If they have to come, they have to agree to the type of questions they're going to be asked and all of that. Me, I don't want. Did you tell me what questions you were going to ask me tonight? I just came on a trip and I just logged in and boom, let's go. And you can ask me any question about anything, I'll tell you like it is. Come on, man. These guys they're not ready for prime time.
I see.
They're not ready.
So let's get back to how Kofi is going to campaign. Because at the end of it all, we want to see Kofi in the street. We want to see people wear your T-shirt. We want to see billboards. We want to see activity on the radio. If you are going to make an impact, it cannot be how you've been going till now. What you've been doing on social media is good. Where are the foot soldiers? What is happening?
Cyrus, we have representation in all 16 regions. It's getting ready to blow up. You are going to call me back here in a month. And you say, hey, Kofi, what did you do? Wait.
Really?
Oh, boy, listen to this. Get ready. This thing's going to blow up. I'm telling you, I'm coming from a meeting right now. I'm coming from a meeting. I just told you I was in a meeting. Samantha was there.
Right.
Just wait and see what's going to get ready to happen.
I see.
Oh, yeah.
I see. All right. So we are just, we are a few minutes. Normally, I don't do too many hours, So let me start introducing a few of my followers to ask questions. Let's see those who have been with us. Let me put Nana BJ online. Nana BJ, are you ready? Nana BJ, I'll put you guys online one by one. Please remember, when you call, there is not going to be anything like insult, cussing, threats, nothing like that. As usual, as we do it on my platform, we are very civil in our conversation. Nothing like this. Please keep it civil, and then I'll put you on one person at a time. I don't want to call people and there'll be background noises. If you know your background is noisy, please don't call us yet until you can find a quiet place to call from. Nana BJ, you have 1 30 seconds to ask question. And BJ, you have the floor.
Good evening, boss. Mr. Kwasi,
yes, sir.
Good evening, all.
Yes, sir. Just call me Kofi.
Okay. My question is good. All the things that you have said now, I've been here listening, your suggestion and what you want to do, all is good. But if one thing that is going on that I would like that all the candidates will talk about it. It's very dangerous. And if we are not taking care, the country will be somewhere that all the fight that we are fighting now, we can't even get to that point. Let me tell you, today something has happened. And if it's any country, that military secretary will be killed today or something like that. Do you know that today the military, the high command, the chief in charge of the military, he has come out. Yes. He has come out to say testify that the secretary went and did at the Supreme Court. He did not authorize it, and at the same time, the letters that he sent to the Supreme Court was not from his office. In the military, this is the thing that we...
BJ.
Boss.
Yes, today we want to be very snappy. I know that story, but I want you to ask Kofi a direct question about what he plans to do, because right now he's not in yet.
Yeah, let me put it to him right now. My question is, you want to be a president now and all this thing is happening. Are you waiting to be a president before you talk about it? Or now that we have opportunity to solve the problem, what are you doing about that? That is my question.
All right. Thank you so much, Nana BJ. Thank you so much.
All right. Nana BJ, if you've paid attention to what happens in Ghana, it's a racket. Okay, they control the whole network. So when you complain, nothing happens. So your best effort is not put to complaining because you won't get any result. Your best effort is put to changing the system. You see? So because when you go, who are you going to go talk to, Akufo-Addo, or are you going to go to CDS's office and report to their command? You're not going to get the result. You're probably going to get arrested. Okay? So I'm not just going to go on television, hey, where is the best place to apply the pressure? It's in the numbers. What can you do? Get on TikTok, do a video, and tell everybody Kofi Koranteng 2024. Because you see, to know the truth about what really went down in terms of the breakdown of leadership, we have to first change the leadership, or we're not going to be able to solve anything. You see?
All right.
So don't just bark. Start a movement. Start some type of positive force to change the outcome. That's how you do it. There's no point at this point to, demonstrations and talking. Nothing's going to happen. This is not democratic. Ghana is not a democratic nation. They talk.
Thank you so much.
It's not.
Thank you so much. We have Dr. Dean. Dr. Dean, are you ready? 30 seconds.
All right. Mr. Kofi Koranteng, my greetings.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I have a simple question to ask. Please, are you aware that the cedi since 1965 till date has depreciated to the tune of almost 60 million% from 1965 till date? And are you also aware that the cedi has actually depreciated against the US dollar? In terms of figures, we are looking at close to 4.5 million%, and also against the pound by almost 1 million%. And if you do know these figures, how do you intend to revert this deep hole that the country finds itself in?
All right. So it's very
Thank
simple.
you.
Very simple. If you don't have foreign exchange reserve, you don't have a trade surplus, then you will always, your currency will always lose value. What do I mean? What the Bank of Ghana does is, because it needs foreign exchange to go to the commodities market abroad to shop, it prints more money. And with the more money, it buys the forex in the system. And it uses that to go to the commodities market because we don't have foreign exchange reserves in our central bank. How do you get foreign exchange reserve in your central bank? You have to manufacture. The easiest way to manufacture is by feeding your agro-based industries. You get the produce, you add value, you export. The foreign exchange reserves, I already answered this question. You use it for three things: pay down the debt, expand your industry base, and you put it in your central bank. So long as there's money in your central bank, your cedi, your currency, will not lose value. And this is also the reason why now the China-led BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, is starting a process of de-dollarizing so that every economy will have their own currency to control. So when they go to the international market for trade, they could say, I am selling my gold, give me cedis. I'm selling my gold, give me naira. I'm selling my rice. You see? Because we have always used the dollar. The dollar is the trade currency. And that is what has created the uneven playing field that China-led BRICS wants to control and recoil back to everybody using their own currency. So,
Right. Thank you so much, Kofi. We have the next person, Kanayus. Kanayus, are you there? Kanayus?
Yeah.
All right. You have 30 seconds. Please go ahead with your question.
All right. First of all, I would like to ask Kofi that, according to the Constitution, it gives, the president the power to appoint, IGP and our judicial, the judicial system, So is he having a plan of, amending part of the Constitution that give the president the mandate to appoint IGP and Attorney General and that? And my second question is, when he was talking, I heard of him, mentioning about the agriculture sector. But when you look at our country, the equipment, agriculture equipment in the system is not enough. So is he drawing something like going to make a free import for agriculture equipment, so that even if the country has no money to bring in, to import those kind of things, at least if it's cheap at the port, at least people in diaspora can bring in farming equipment, so that at least ordinary farmer can buy. Because of this import duties, because of that is why farming equipment are very expensive. So is he like, having some kind of agenda to make imports of agriculture equipment free, or maybe make it even low? Is he having that kind of? And thirdly, is he considering alliance with the other small party? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. So real quick, the first question was on the Constitution and the Constitution. Okay, so let's do a break first because it's my personal favorite. Yes, if you are importing agricultural machinery, there's no duty on it. That's number one. But we want to discourage people from bringing in agricultural machinery. We want to be the ones buying all the mega machinery and doing bulk agriculture rather than doing bits and pieces of agriculture because of the way that we want to control our food security. Okay, but if you were to bring in agriculture machinery, so long as it's not some, most of the agriculture machinery that people bring in are so weak, it probably has a lifeline, maybe about a couple of years before it becomes a wreck, and then it's the expense of discarding or recycling that becomes the liability of the state. So we don't want to do that. If it's a new equipment and it meets some requirement, yes, you could bring it in. But most of the machines are going to be done brought in by us. Your other question that you asked, what's the other question? One, two, constitution. Oh yeah, as far as the alliance, we're working on it, as I said, and at some point we're going to announce to the whole world the members of the alliance are and who the leader is. So in the next maybe 2-3 weeks, you should hear that as we get ready for to walk towards the general. I think the last thing you said was about the Constitution, that what am I going to do with the Constitution in terms of changing the Constitution? Changing the Constitution, it's an easy thing to do if you know how. Okay, it's going to go through. Everybody thinks the Constitution has to go through Parliament. It passes through Parliament. Parliament is not who changes the Constitution. Constitution will be changed in a referendum. So the Electoral Commission is who changes the Constitution. We're not going to review a Constitution. We're going to change the Constitution. And as far as the IGP, the Electoral Commissioner, and all these other CDS and all these other sensitive positions, it's not going to be the job of a president to appoint. It's going to be the job of what we call a Public Service Commission to evaluate, do their due diligence, and appoint. So it's not going to be that which is going to be a responsibility of the president. And so they will not need to be loyal to the president, but to the people of Ghana. Next.
All right. We have just about 2 more people and then we'll end it. This is the next person is Humble Lion. Humble Lion, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Excellent. You have 30 seconds. Please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Kofi Koranteng, I have no questions to ask him. I've been with him for a period of decade now. But my question rather goes to you, the host. Of what contribution are you putting in place on ground to see Kofi coming into power? This is my question to you.
I think Kofi puts you up to this. I think Kofi puts you up to this. No, I can smell Kofi's.
No, humble. Let me tell you, he's going to give us $1 million after this. So I'm
okay. I wish it happened so.
Let me tell you what I have in mind.
Just to be on this platform, to be honest, it's an honor, and we are so thankful for the opportunity to be here, because we know how many people, the credibility you have gained over the past, your tentacles reach. So we are thankful for the opportunity. We know something good is going to come out of this, and we hope again that you invite us to come here. After I invited Mahama and Baumia and Chamanting and everybody else, call us again, and then you will see the real difference in us.
Thank you so much for your kind words. By the way, Humble Lion, I've been watching Kofi from far. I'll be honest with you. I like some of the things he says. But I've been around politicians for a while now. I've been very close to politicians. And I'll be honest with you again, I was one of those people who was so loud when Nana Addo was coming into power, 2016. In fact, some of the workers who worked under me with the company I worked with, I made more than 200 people. I convinced more than 200 people to change where they were voting in their hometowns because they weren't planning to go back to their hometowns to vote. I made them switch and vote in that constituency.
Wow.
And I can remember how much my 50 Ghana cedis, my 20 Ghana cedis was being sent to people to just get them out to go and vote for Nanado, because I believed in that kind of change he was talking about until he became president. And now we have Kofi Koranteng on the play, and he's saying a lot of wonderful stuff, and I'm happy to interview him today. Fine gentleman, well articulated. We'll have to hear more from him and see if indeed he's yes, because it is one thing to know how to speak well, and it's one thing to be trusted that in fact you can deliver. This is the gap we want to bridge, that Kofi is not just
I gave you the answer. The answer is the person who sponsors you to presidency is the person who runs your presidency. There's nobody behind me who's giving me money.
Kofi, until we are definitely sure that indeed you are sponsored by ordinary people, we cannot say for certain that Kofi has said it, so we just have to take it on face value. No. We want to be sure that Kofi is indeed being sponsored by the ordinary Ghanaian or people in the diaspora. That's fine. But right now, people have their own perceptions. And I really genuinely hope that Kofi will get to the point where he's not just going to be some third force. No, he's going to be a leading force in this elections. Honestly. And when that time comes, we'll see what we can do. We have a platform. We are still growing. We hope the numbers will increase in the coming months. Thank you so much, Ambolai. Let me put another person on board. 2 more people, and then we can end it. Okay. Let me put Nanayao. Nanayao. I see Nanayao has the photograph of Cheddar on. So Nanayao normally will defend Cheddar's cause. Nanayao. Nanayao, are you there? I think Nanayao is not ready. So let me move on to the next person. Maybe 2 more people, Kofi, and then we can end it. Okay, let me put, who is this person? Naomi. Oh, we have a lady. A lady. We are happy to have a lady. Naomi.
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Naomi, yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Naomi, you have 30 seconds. Please throw your question to Kofi. He's ready to answer.
Thank you for to have me on this program. I just was scrolling down and I just saw this and I said, let me join.
Good.
What Kofi has been saying is so wonderful. But if he will keep up with his words when he becomes the president, about people influxing Ghana from every other countries, owning everything. Look at Ghana Airways, we don't have it.
Nothing.
The shipping harbor is gone.
We don't have nothing.
Our youth are running away, going to all kinds of countries, Dubai,
yes.
All these Arabian countries, and they are being, should I say, molested?
Yes. Yes.
There's all kinds of things. It breaks my heart very, very much. Ghana has a young people to just keep them and let them, raise Ghana, change Ghana. Ghana shouldn't be like this. Please, Kofi, what I'm saying is, when you come out, please make sure you put the youth together. And look at Burkina Faso. Look at Senegal. We have young, especially Burkina Faso. They reappointed him for another term. So please, we need somebody. If what you are saying is real, I'm just here to say, please, Ghana is sinking. It has
Sure.
synced, not thinking. So please, that's all I want to say.
Thank you so much, Naomi. Kofi, is to you.
Well, Naomi, listen, I had a lady call me from, I think, Austria, I think it was, and she was telling me about how long she lived in Austria and she wanted to come home. And her daughter wants to be around her people because she was tired being in a wrong crowd because of the racism that was, it was inflicted on her. And it got me sad, And I wondered how many more people are caught abroad in that predicament where they want to come to their people only if Ghana had the roads, had the infrastructure, had the healthcare, had the systems, and you could come and walk the streets at night and not worry about somebody taking your phone from you and beating you down because of 10 cedis to buy a meal. Why is it like that? We have created that environment for ourselves because we have voted for the wrong people. I may say a lot of things that Kufuor Mahama may have said. But you see, if you were to ask somebody to give you a recipe for jollof, if you were to ask 10 people to give you a recipe for jollof, it would be the same recipe. But the minds that goes to make that jollof will be different on each person. And that's what I am telling Ghanaians, that I may even speak like one of them. I may have a lot of ideas like some of them. I may share some thoughts like some of them did share with you. But if the person who controls their funding to their campaigns is an outside source of interest group, then they're not going to do what we like as a people. And that's why we need to change this thing. I am yours. I am you. You are me. I'm not a politician. I'm just a pissed off Ghanaian who wants to bring change to their people. That's who I am. And I know how. And that's why I'm asking you to come along with me. So help us. Let's get through this thing. Let's do this.
The user, is it you? Okay, the guy doesn't have a name. Is it a guy or girl? Whoever that is, are you ready?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Please tell us your name and go ahead with your question.
Okay, my name is Papa Kofi. I live in Canada. Okay. Yeah, Kofi probably will remember me a lot because I've had a lot of chats with him a few times.
Papa.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr.
Papa.
Host. I can find it in a woman can find a prepo.
Kofi, are you a fanti?
Oh, no, sure, the dump, no.
Kofi, are you a fanti?
Baby, fancy.
Because I know you are a Kuape man.
Yeah.
Going to become fancy.
That's right. Okay. That's right. Okay, Mr. Host, thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk.
Sure.
I actually I've been following Kofi for a very long time. Because of work, I haven't been able to really get deep involved, but soon I'll get very much involved. My little contribution here is that people should understand when Kofi speaks. Usually, people are comparing him to the other candidates that, they all say the same thing, they all say the same thing and all that. When people want to know the difference, they should pay attention and see how Kofi answers the questions. He gives details. He gives details on what he wants to do, where people usually ask him, where are you going to get the money from? He gives them, he goes down to the bottom and tells them, we're going to pull money out of this side, we're going to pull money out of that side, we're going to stop them from using those SUVs, expensive SUVs, and we're going to use the money for this and that. I haven't heard Mahama or any of those candidates breaking things down the way Kofi does. So that's one thing that people should notice. Now, my question to Kofi is that I haven't heard him mention anything about the Ghana military, what he's going to do to enhance this our military and also the police force and all those security agencies. Ghana military means a lot to me because if anything can go wrong, really wrong, it can develop from that end. And Kofi's security is a big concern to me because he is a valuable individual, you know, from the knowledge he expresses in his shows, you can tell that even if he doesn't win to become a president, he can be a very good asset to our country because he knows where this world is heading right now with BRICS, with Russia, China, and stuff like that, you know, and with the decline of the American, of the West, the decline of the West, and the propaganda that they're throwing on in there, right? So my only question right now is, Kofi, what are you going to do to enhance the military, and what are you doing for your security so that when you get in power, the NDC and NPP don't sabotage you through the military?
All right. Thank you so much for your question.
So it's multifaceted. We have to take care of our military, train them, equip them, and put them on a platform for them to be functional. And the way we do that is, I talked about integrated national ID and address system. If you have an integrated national ID and address system, we have a biometric print, you know, of every citizen of Ghana, then you could very easily go through a process in a flash, identify who's supposed to be here and who's not supposed to be here. Right now, as we speak, you can't do that in Ghana. There are a lot of people in the system who don't belong to be here, but they are here. And they could be threats to us. That's number one. Number two, we have a huge unemployment. That's the biggest security threat that we have. Until we get our youth to work, they don't care about themselves. You see the suicide numbers have gone up because there is hopelessness. People have got to be hopeful. When people are hopeful, then they protect what they acquire. If people feel hopeless, they don't care about what's for you and what's for them. So when you change their psyche, the way you change their psyche is to give them value. Once they have value, they are working, they see value in themselves, they have children who go into good schools, they have apartments that they're living in, they have running water, they eat well, they sleep well, they have fun, there's recreation, then they have something to hope for in life. And right now in Ghana in particular, that's a biggest security risk because the youth are unengaged, they're idle, you see? So integrated national ID up the level of equipment for the military and integrate them. All the security services have to be on one integrated system, and all the citizens have to be on an integrated system so that we can very easily identify who's Ghanaian and who's not, so we can identify who the enemy is and X them out.
All right. Thank you so much. This is the last question coming to you from Mr. Mr. G. And then after that, we'll bring this session to an end. Mr. G, are you ready for your last question?
Yes, sir, Mr. Toontum. I salute you. Mr. Kofi.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I through salute. You've done it all. You've done it all. We are behind you 100%.
Thank you.
100%. We are voting for you hands down. Hands down. And Mr. Host, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. It's not even a question to Kofi because as you can hear from what I'm saying, I am Kofi's number one bodyguard. I am with him all the way. Listen, you asked if he's organically funded. I can tell you without hesitation, Kofi is organically funded. This man is standing alone. He's standing to fight for us as Ghanaians. Okay, he's standing to fight for us. Listen, you can hear like what Humble Lion said. You can hear in the way he takes the time to break down the answers to you. There are nobody seated to his left or right. feeding answers to him. He does not ask you to go by a list of questions before he agrees to come on your podcast. Like Kofi said himself, how many of these other candidates have we seen on any other TikTok or any other media platform, any other social media platforms? Because they can't risk it, because they will get questions they are not prepared for. But Kofi is putting himself out there, line of fire. Throw any questions you have at me, and he will answer it right from where he's seated. This is a brain that we need in governance. This is a brain that we need in governance. And I'll say this lastly, Toontum. The Bible says in Proverbs 29:2 that when the righteous are in authority, people become great. But when evil men rule our country, look at what is happening in Ghana now. We have people running helter-skelter to get out of the country. People are looking for any path to get out of our country. A country with gold, bauxite, magnesium, name it. And people are running. Okay, people are running out of the country, Mr. Host. So it's time, Ghanaians, we take, especially we the young ones, we the young, vibrant ones, because if we don't take care, look at what is happening in Nigeria. Look at what is happening in other countries now, in the African, circles. If we don't take care, my brother, we won't have a home called Ghana anymore. We won't have it anymore if we don't take care. If we leave these evil old men to keep doing what they are doing, this dual monopoly of MDC, MPP, if we leave them at the helm, Ghana will be nothing to write home about. So, Kofi, we salute
Thank you so much.
100%. The number to support Kofi's movement is in the chat box. If you don't know it, you can look through the messages. The number is there. You can send money from $1 to whatever. Send something. Support him. Let's push him to the hills. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Finally, this guy is calling in. Let me put him on. Immense answer. Is that correct? You have the floor. Hello?
Hello. Yeah, you muted me. Okay.
All right.
It's a lady. Amen.
Okay. Amen. All right.
I contacted you to get Kofi on. And,
right.
Yeah. He, when I texted him, he did not hesitate, Mr. Koranteng. The moment I texted him, he said, yeah, why not? Sure. So we started working on this, and yeah, surely it came through. Thank you so much, Toontum. Thank you.
Thank you too very much. Amen.
Us on your platform. God bless
Thank you
this
so
is
much.
a great opportunity for us. We hope this will not be the first time, and you will have us again to grace your platform, because this man, I'm telling you, the organic we are talking about, it's just, you don't even know.
You sound like you know it so personally.
Oh yeah, I'm his chairman lady for New Vision.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So I know what I'm talking about. And
that's my boss, so be careful.
I see.
And yes, and we come to your doors, everybody, and ask you to support us with whatever you can. This is why he is not obliged to do anything for anybody but to us Ghanaians, because it's us supporting him, not anybody from anywhere, from whatever. It's us individually bringing in the little bit we have to support Kofi Koranteng to do what he has to do. So we are urging everybody on this platform. I see we went as high as almost 90 people on here. If everybody can give us $20, you know how far we can get with this. If you don't have the money to give us, you can give us a t-shirt, a billboard, a sticker, whatever you can give us, we will gladly take. Please, our number is 059 999 5120 059 999 5120. The website you can get us is www.kofikoranteng.com/donate. Please come on board. It's not about these NDC MPP are so powerful, and no, they are powerful because we allow them to be powerful. If we decide to take our power from them, they become powerless. They become powerless. So forget it. When I hear people saying they are so powerful, they are not powerful. We gave them that power. So please come on board. I don't want to talk too much because Toontum has to go. So please come on board, support us with every little bit you can, and push Kofi Koranteng. He's the only man. He is the only true man. If you want unity, he is looking for the best to join with, not just any trash. So thank you so much. God bless you. If you've been on here, it's not a mistake. It's a good thing. Thank you, Mr. Koranteng. We love you so much, New Vision Movement. Toontum, God bless you. Have us on again.
All right.
We love you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Oh, bye-bye. Kofi, you have last words to say before we go.
Well, listen, Toontum, first, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to share. I honestly believe that, see, when people say the youth are not ready, the youth, there are so many tasks that they push onto the youth. I think the youth have been disappointed and they are traumatized for the last couple of maybe years or maybe a decade or so, because they've been let down so many times. They see the injustices, they see the rape, they see the abuse, and they have coiled into their own corner to say that, listen, we don't want to be part of that failed system. We're not going to take part of that failed system. And we also have to be patient with them and getting them to see from a different perspective of hope again. And that's what we offer. That's what I bring to the table. And I am asking them and begging them, one last shot. This time is for real. This time is for real. So come along with us. Cyrus, I am putting my life on the line for this. I'm serious. Okay, that's why I renounced my citizenship to come here to prove to the youth that I'm giving everything. Listen, I left my family, I left my business. I've lost over $120,000 every year for the last 5 years of income to come here. And on top of that, I've lost all my savings. I don't have anything now, but I believe in the youth. I really do. This is the biggest commitment of a conviction I have made in my life. My close friends in the US and around the world think I'm crazy, but I think I know the youth and I know they will deliver. They will rise up to the occasion and reach out and grab what's theirs. So let's make this thing happen. Let's do this. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. I just saw somebody that is a strong father.